Hey everybody, welcome to Frontier Feature, starring your regular hosts. Wait, hold on a second. Do you say your name Jarjanator or Darhanator?
Jarjanator.
Jarjanator.
Jarjanator? Okay, let's see that.
Jarjanator.
Oh my god, I'm gonna need a lot more alcohol.
Hey everybody, welcome to... Shit.
Welcome
Hey everybody,
No,
welcome
you're not
to
wrong.
Frontier Feature. Starring your regular host, Darjanator and Meyer, both super testies. And the guest this week is the one, the only, the awesome, the stupendous, the really great guy, Kinshadow. Yours truly. Thank you. Is that good? I mean, you want more about that?
No, it's fine. It's fine.
Just keep piling it on. Yes.
Yeah, Darjanator is famous for being constantly drunk.
Yeah.
Meyer Test is constantly crashing into things, I believe. Isn't that what you're famous for?
Sure, I'll take it.
Well, you can't be in test if you don't constantly crash into things.
You kind of
It's just-
you have it in your name, right?
I suppose so. Yeah. So, Kinshadow, thank you so much for dropping by and for joining us today. So,
No problem.
I'm not sure if you've seen any of these podcasts before or heard them, but
I am a regular watcher of Fortnightly Frontier. I don't know.
Right.
I've seen too many of the feature ones.
okay. All right. So this might come as a bit of a surprise to you, but surprise, kid, you're on the hot seat. So we're going to ask you some questions. And Darsh, I guess, take it away.
if it'd be cool if I actually had stuff prepared. Anyway, yeah, let's start with the only question that really matters. Who are you?
Who am I?
Yes.
My real name is Brian. I like long
Hello,
walks on
Brian.
the beach and pina coladas and getting caught in the rain. And I'm really into Star Citizen, actually. Let's see. Should I throw out some Star Citizen street cred or something like that?
Yeah, do
We're
it.
going to ask you anyway, but may as well. Yeah, why not?
Okay. So I got interested in Star Citizen like way back in the day when it was the pre-website. So that's like, what was that, September 2012?
Wow. Okay.
I was at the 1010 event, had met Chris for the first time then. And, I guess before that I was into Wing Commander and whatnot back in the day, and I was a big fan of Origin games and stuff. And so when Chris had thrown out that he was doing a new thing that was Wing Commander E, I was like, hey, he's doing it and he's having a thing in my hometown I can go to. So I skipped off work and ran over there, and the rest is history, right? I got real big into the community. On the boards and stuff, and for a while I debated what I wanted to do because I kind of wanted to get more involved. So I, you know what? Just 1 second. Just 1 second. My mic looks a little hot, and I want to help you guys with your recording. There you
You
go.
sound okay here.
Yeah, it sounds fine. It's fine.
Yeah, well, it was a little hot on Audacity, so I didn't want it to clip too much in the recording.
Okay.
So what was I saying? So I tried out a couple of things. Was real active on the forums and the chat for a while, and even tried my hand at some, I'd say, lukewarm fan fiction. Wasn't that great? And then Wingman's Hangar started, which was kind of a spawn off of Eric's little live streams that he would do. And there was a fellow named Legante that sent in a video. And believe it or not, when Legante first sent in a video, I saw his video, and he had like this weird black and white thing with his get up on, and I'm like, wow, that is the best CGI I've ever seen in a fan video. And it totally blew my mind because everybody else was submitting stupid little CGI crap.
Yeah.
And it blew my mind
Yeah,
that it was an
I
actual...
did as well.
It blew my mind that it was an actual, just like a film thing he was doing and doing some post-processing and stuff. And I'm like,
Yeah.
and I was like, well, I can do that. And so without even his, without even talking to him, I submitted a video that mentioned him and it would ask a question to Wingman, and I started a little thing between him and me, and got really involved in kind of these little fan video projects that were really popular in the first year of Star Citizen, and that's I think where a lot of old school citizens know me from, and we did that for. We did it for about 6 months, and it kind of culminated with like their first, or I guess second, that's the first post Kickstarter live stream that was in July of 2013. And then at that point, they were changing the format a bit and had less fan stuff on. So we just kind of said, okay, well, that's the finale to a degree. And we did a couple of things after that together for the next 6 months. But then it kind of died off because there wasn't really a platform to do like fan video stuff like that. And so since then, I've been throwing my energy around in the Star Citizen community, doing all sorts of other things. And as Ben has called me, super fan-like activities. So I've done everything from making Valentine's Day cards and Star Citizen Halloween pumpkins and... what are some other ones? Some machinima, some card games and board games, some more fiction-y things, and all sorts of stuff. And then most recently, I've gotten involved and started a podcast, or kind of hopped onto an existing podcast, Guard Frequency, and been working with them and expanding what they do. And yeah, so that's kind of the last. Jesus Christ, like 5 years in a nutshell, almost.
Yeah, about 5 years now. Yeah.
Yep.
So before we get too deep into everything, so first of all, I guess, how did you come across or come about with the name Kinshadow?
Okay, this is embarrassing a little bit, I guess.
So we like to hear.
In college, I got really into the Wheel of Time. And I loved the name in there where there's a guy named Kinslayer, which is, a reference to the fact he killed his whole family.
Right.
And I was making for whatever reason, I liked the name Ken, the idea of kind of a lineage thing. And so I made a D&D character at one point where he was really into ancestral worship. And I called him, I made his last name, Kinshadow. As kind of a reference to that, and so
Right. Okay.
it just kind of stuck at that point.
So what race, what class?
Jesus, I think he was a half elf thief.
Okay.
Yeah, and he was okay. So this was a campaign where we were playing evil characters. So he was a Cheech inspired drug dealer that would. Specialize in drugs from the Underdark, and was really a bad guy because he was kind of a trickster and fuck people up and give them the wrong drugs, and he would experiment and create new drugs by experimenting on homeless people, and then we would use said inebriated homeless people to set off traps in dungeons, and I can go on for hours about the crap that he pulled off.
And of course, have a really thick Mexican accent, right?
Yes, I'm not going to do it on the stream though, because while it's probably appropriate in private company for a D&D thing, it could come off as racist here, so I'm not going to do that.
Wow. Right on. All right.
Right. So you mentioned that you're all appearing on the podcast. Do you have anything else in the works right now? Any other projects?
So, yeah. So as you guys probably know, at last CitizenCon, I passed out a card game. It's called Freelancers. It was a product of a 9-card game competition. I just kind of motivated myself to enter, and then I decided to rejigger the rules and reskin the game as a Star Citizen themed thing. And the main reason I did it is because I'm always big into card games, and I thought, well, with CitizenCon coming up, it'd be really cool if I could have something to play with people at CitizenCon that is Star Citizen themed. And I knew about oh my god, the Traverse the Verse being
Right.
done by Nighthawk Zale, and I had seen his stuff before and talked to him a little bit, but his stuff was really how to say that big game thing. It's a big box deal and whatnot, and I wanted
okay.
something I could actually give away. So that's where that started from. And that was like 6 months of play testing, and then a whole lot of artwork that I kind of did cooperatively with Angry Peas. He did like the basic character sketches, and then I did a whole bunch on top of that. And that was a lot of fun to produce, but it's a really small game, right? It's more of a palate cleanser. And so ever since then, I've had a lot of ideas where, how can I take some of these basic concepts and turn it into what you would consider a real tabletop game? And I've been working on that for a while. And I'm really hoping that by next CitizenCon, I'll be able to have some. I probably won't be at CitizenCon because it's a little bit of a long flight for me.
Yeah.
But I in theory, I'm hoping to have another game by then. That'll be more of a proper game with a couple hundred cards and things like that. And it'll be it's the same style though. I'm not trying to replicate what Traverse the Verse does because it's a very different level of commitment. But this is still kind of a idea where you're an owner of a guild or something like that, and you're trying to get pilots to fly missions. And but in the case I'm working now, it's you also have to get ships to match with the pilots, and you earn reputation with various factions and stuff when you're flying the missions, and it's a lot more complicated, and it's a lot more of a meatier, chewy game with
Is
extra
it similar
level mechanics.
to something
It'll probably
that
last
exists?
a little longer.
Is it similar to something that already exists out there, or is it like a completely new sort of mechanic that you're coming up with?
Well, some of the mechanics are new. Like the card flipping mechanic that I had in my first game, the main reason that was there was just to maximize what I could do with 9 cards, but it gave me a lot of ideas. And so there will be another card flipping mechanic that is kind of the basis. But the rest of the mechanics are bread and butter stuff. So there will be, it'll primarily be an engine building game with worker placement mechanics.
Right. So I've seen at least 4 colors now. I've seen red, blue, and yellow, and I've seen the gray ones on the underside. So can you explain more about? So what are these? The factions and
Oh, right. So yeah. So these are. So this is freelancers. This is the 9-card game, and the colors represent the type of pilot that you are getting, and the dice represent the kind of mission you're trying to fly. And so. Red are like mercenaries, yellow are traders, and blue are bounty hunters, I believe. And the idea you get the scoring based on how the numbers that you're getting align with the numbers that are on the dice representing the mission, and you get plus and minus points depending on whether you're matching. And then you get points for if you match the colors or you get pairs of the colors. Because the idea is that if you have 2 people in your group that are the same kind of person, then they'll work better together and you'll be more effective on the mission.
Right.
And so that's where the theming of that one came along. The gray are what are called... Actually, I can't remember what I called them now. They're disenfranchised pilots, meaning that they've been they've been either kicked out or they're mad or something like that. And so if you reject a pilot when it's your choice to pick a pilot, or he's the next in the line, then you flip him over to gray, signifying that all right, he's mad that you didn't pick him, and so he doesn't like you as much anymore, and he will not be as effective in a mission if he gets picked again.
Okay.
And so that's the way. But there's a whole bunch of different strategies for picking the pilots in that game, because getting all the same color gives you a different bonus than getting different pairs and things like that.
And I'm noticing so there are a bunch of numbers. You have 1, you have 2, you have 3, you have 4/6. What's up with that?
I think it's either 4 or 6. Not
Yeah, it's either a
six.
4 or a 6.
All right.
I don't think
And
you
then
can actually roll
there's also evens,
2/3
odds,
on a die.
There's also evens, odds, and primes. But if people are astute, the primes actually include 1 in this case, just because
Right.
for the math. And that's just the reason that they're like that is to provide. cards that you're getting to match against the die. And the reason that it's 4 or 6 and that it's primes and things like that is that I wanted each group to match against the same number of possible rolls of the die. And so just with 9 cards, that was the only solution I kind of got to.
Right.
That you could get that with. And so that took a couple of days trying out different combinations and seeing how it worked.
Oh, man, I can't even really imagine how you would start to approach to developing your own mechanics for a board game like that.
It must take a while.
Yeah,
Well, it's a lot of trial and error, right? So you have a base level idea. You know what? Here's an interesting anecdote for this particular game. So the game was original concept for it was a dancing game, believe it or not. And it was called Cotillion. And you can actually look it up on Board Game Geek. It was for a 9-card card contest. And then the game mechanics are totally different from what you have here, but the cards are fairly similar. It's a lot, the rules are significantly simpler than what I ended up with in Freelancers because the theme was much looser. With
Space
Freelancers,
versus
I actually kind of
dancing,
wanted
right?
like a line where you saw pilots coming up available for missions and things like that. With Cotillion, it was just picking people off the top of the stack. And the idea was you were a courtier trying to dance with people at the thing and get stuff. And the original impetus for Cotillion that I was trying to do was a prostitution-based game where you had hookers on street corners, and you were the pimp, and you were trying to recruit the hookers. And
I like
after
this idea.
after some discussion, we decided, well, I mean, me and my friend that were thinking about it, were like, well, you know, that theme probably doesn't play well with some people, so we changed it to dancing instead of hookers.
Oh, that kind of dancing. I see. Right on. So I
Horizontal
guess
mambo.
my
Right.
last question
So-
would be, what does E mean? Sorry, Darge.
Even
Oh, okay, right. And
Yeah.
E.
Prime.
so just on Freelancers, this is the whole game is print and play. So if you ever want to play this for free, totally by yourself, whatever, if you go to kinshadow.com/games, you can print it out, play it yourself at home, whatever. It also has kinshadow.com/games also has pointers to my the other couple of Star Citizen themed games that I've done.
Right.
One is a Cards Against Humanity expansion, and another one is one that I did for a contest that the lore writers made. And they actually had a contest for a card game in Star Citizen, and they petitioned everybody to kind of come up with their own. It's called Trigger, and it was voted in by the community. So that one is more of a trick-taking, poker betting kind of game. But you play that with the normal 52 cards. I will admit, though, that Trigger was designed very fast because there wasn't very much time to design a full game for the contest. So I didn't have a chance to play a lot since then, and at the time. And since then, I've thought about it a lot, and it really needs some more love that I haven't had a chance to put into it. So that's something I'll get to eventually, and I'll not that I think they're actually going to stick the full game in the game, but. I like lore and stuff, so just to flesh that out a bit and provide a better balance and make it a better game, I'll probably give Trigger some love at some time in the future.
Well, it'd be interesting, well, considering we're getting Item 2.0 and all this advanced object interaction, that you could actually hold, you know, like 6 cards in your hand and then play it on a table.
Well, they've been kind of fuzzy on how grabby hands or whatever that is will work on those
What do they
small
call
items.
it now? It's no longer grabby hands. It's
No,
now
it's
got
not.
a very generic name, doesn't it?
Item Interaction System 3.0 or something like that, right?
Something quite. You should be a producer. I think something like that. Yeah.
Something very much like
I'm
that.
going to
yes.
always call it Grabby Hands because that's the most entertaining name.
Oh, definitely.
Yes, and it does have a sort of a perverse undertone to it.
Yes, that's a positive for any naming scheme.
Yes, exactly. And I was just going to mention that, you went from a prostitution-themed card game just because you thought it wouldn't resonate with many people, and went into a Star Citizen-themed card game.
Yeah, well, you know, interesting themes are a good way to provide an impetus for interesting mechanics. So, switching the theme up on a game is a good way to rethink it, I think.
Yep. And also, if people would just happen to come across your card game without knowing what Star Citizen is, they might get interested in what the game is.
That's
what the
possible.
video game is, yeah.
That's possible.
Especially if
the
people
world
know
of
your
the
website.
world of card games is so, and board games is so flooded at the moment. I'm not too. I'm not. I don't think that would very much be likely. I guess.
So what you're trying to
it
say is
possible.
you haven't gotten any referrals from this work just yet, then.
Oh no, I don't think I've sold a single copy of Freelancers, but I didn't do it for money.
Right. I
You-
think
you
maybe
should-
perhaps
you
you
should-
should. Yeah, go on.
You should spam Will Wheaton on Twitter and just have them play this game of yours on tabletop on Geek and Sundry.
yeah. My good friend Will Wheaton, I will totally hit him up for that.
Oh, totally. We have drinks all the time, don't you know? But yeah, you should. I think you should put your citizen your number on one of your cards. Like I think we do it on the YouTube, so you should do it on your cards. Like it's
There you go.
it's per game.
That's a good idea. I'll put Angry
Well,
Peas in mine on the cards, and that's a good way to get referrals.
Yeah, especially if you have your cards set up as like a printable PDF. One of the cards should have like a QR code that goes straight to RobertSpaceIndustries.com and puts in your referral code.
Absolutely, that's a great idea.
Smart.
And devious.
It's like the extra level of shill,
Well, it is a free thing, so
yeah. I do.
you might as well get a Gladius from it or something.
There, the card games, both Freelancers and the Van Duel Against Humanity, which is the Cards Against Humanity expansion. There is an online printing option, so if you don't want to print at home, you can spend a couple of bucks and print through those, and I get like $1 or something like that out of that, or 50 cents, I guess. But if you are so inclined, or you can completely print them at home.
Van Duel Against Humanity, that sounds like something we need to check out, Marv.
Van
Oh,
Duel
and,
Against Humanity. All right then.
Yeah, well, it's an expansion
and
pack for...
if you click on if you go through Kinshadow.com/games and you go to the forum link, there is actually links for how to play it online too. So all the cards are uploaded online and you can play through there. And I did that with on the Sophie Girls podcast, and it was a lot of fun, especially when you're drunk.
Right. Okay, we totally need to do this right after we're done recording this. But there is so much more that you've done recently. Like when we met you at CitizenCon in Los Angeles, you were not wearing, normal Star Citizen fan sort of clothing. You were wearing something
That's
else.
right.
Yeah.
So I guess there's a story behind that too. So in April or so, I got laid off, and I kind of had some job prospects right off the bat, but they all kind of started getting delayed. And I had a good feeling. Okay, well, I'm gonna get a job, but I've got a couple of months to kill here before CitizenCon, because I know I'm going to CitizenCon. I'm not giving that up. Damn it. And so I was like, well, what can I do before a CitizenCon that I would never get a chance to do normally when I have a job? And the answer came to me, well, cosplay, right? So I decided to get into cosplay with those intermeeting months I was jobless, and that costume is the product of that. I had to teach myself a bunch about EVA foam and everything, and I tried to document the process as well as possible and put it in that Spectrum thread. So if anybody wants to make a pirate, even though they have a name for it was the old pirate medium armor helmet.
Yep.
Yeah. I'm not sure if it's going to be the old helmet per se, or if they're just going to reuse that or rework it somewhere else. It kind of seems wasteful for CIG.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you can never have too many of those. Anyway.
You can still wear it, I think, in the PU. I think you can still buy it, but it's no longer like the default it was at one point.
Yeah.
It's not the Brawler. The Brawler is a light one. What's the... Anyway, it's the Ant-Man. It's the Ant-Man, right?
Yeah. That's actually what my kids thought I was doing. They thought I was cosplaying as Ant-Man. But no, I think it was a total experiment on my side, and I had to put a lot of thought into just the basics of getting this stuff done, and but it was a lot of fun, and I enjoyed doing it. If I get a chance again, I'll before the next get together that I go to, I'm gonna try and augment the costume, maybe make a better chest piece, because the chest piece on that costume was kind of half-assed. I didn't have a lot of time to finish that part of it. but yeah, I'll try and do something a little more in depth. I had aspirations of doing a sand nomad costume at one point.
Oh wow!
But,
okay.
I think that one's further down the line at this point.
Yeah, you'd blow up Jay Lee's head if you saw somebody make it.
Oh, he was. I let him and a couple of the guys there try it on or at least hold it up to themselves if they couldn't quite fit in the helmet, because unfortunately it was a tad small, and so everybody was really excited at CitizenCon for it to see something like that become physical.
It kind of looks like a Zoom's mask from The Flash in that background picture there, almost.
Yeah, well, the new pirate stuff even looks more like Zoom's mask from The Flash.
You're right. Yeah, it's more... And it also comes in black, too, in the
less
verse.
face.
Yeah. Interesting. So I guess cosplay isn't something that you've done previously. It's kind of something you just wanted to get into in the now kind of deal?
Well, I did some cosplay for the videos that I did for Wingman's Hangar, but that was literally just a trench coat and a scarf, or I guess just a piece of black cloth for the face.
So it's
I think at one point I wore a gas mask to kind of mock Legante at one point.
Okay,
but no, I didn't. I mean, it's not traditional con level cosplay until this that I put together here.
Right. Okay. So that's pretty cool.
Yes, it is. And next time we meet, I hope I see you in something new and extravagant. And more lights, damn it.
Or, if it's not new and extravagant and if it's the same helmet, at least the chest piece will be new. So you can go, hey, my eyes are up here, citizen.
Yeah, well, my next costume, just keep the helmet, and then the rest of it will be Zardoz cosplay.
Mara doesn't get it.
That went over my head. Yeah.
You can Google Zardoz and you'll get it. It is.
It's
Sean Connery's
probably Sean
greatest
Connery's greatest role ever. It's like yes, that.
Okay. Interesting.
What do you have the bod and you have the sweet abs and the bones to pull it off though?
No.
Even if you don't, just do it.
I've got an extra level of insulation that Sean Connery didn't have, so it'll be even better.
Okay. Let's carry on with the questions, I suppose. You also mentioned something about your gaming history, but what sort of gaming did you do before you came across Star Citizen? Apart from Wing Commander, and
I was really big into a bunch of MMOs, I guess. I mean, I loved the space sim genre back in the day, right? For X-Wing versus TIE Fighter. I loved like you said, Wing Commander. Those space sims were kind of a big thing for me. But they're really, I didn't get into a lot of the modern ones. Anything past Freelancer, I just didn't. I never got into the X series or what's another one? There was a couple other, or Galaxy on Fire, which is I guess super casual version. I never really got into those for whatever reason. I would try them out and just wasn't in. They always felt shallow to me. So but I
I'm
was
still
big into a bunch of
trying to
MMOs.
find somebody who also played Independence War, apart from me, and I'm still looking. I'm still looking.
He tried to get me to play it for the longest time, but I think I've kind of
Yeah.
I've made it clear
Yeah.
that I'm not touching it with a stick.
It's a steep curve, I think. I tried them all. I think just really briefly, just to see, because especially with Steam sales and the like, it's pretty easy to go and get these back ones. And I don't know, it's hard to hold my interest without without having some sort of a background in it for me. I want the lore. I want a community that's really into it, et cetera, et cetera. It's kind of one of the reasons, I guess, I kind of have a love-hate relationship with Elite Dangerous, in that, I don't mind playing it every once in a while, but I don't ever really feel as involved with it as I do with Star Citizen, just because I just don't like the lore as much. And so when I'm flying around, it's like, oh, okay, I spent an hour trading or whatever, but it's hard to feel part of a bigger thing, right? But anyway, as far as other games go, I was really big into Ultima Online for years. Did a lot of land speculation, I guess, which is kind of the meta game there. And then did some random every other MMO you can think of that kind of came out after that for brief periods. Everything from EverQuest and WoW and Rift and etc. I kind of hopped from MMO to MMO for a while. I never did Eve. I bought it, and for whatever reason, I guess I do. I guess I do know the reason. I never had any friends that were really big into it, and I think that was kind of the big thing for MMOs for me. I had to have a friend. For casual games, it was fine. Like if I wanted to go play Diablo or a first-person shooter or something like that, I have no problem jumping into that, playing that for a while, and everything. But for MMOs specifically, I had to have friends, and for it to maintain interest for me, because I guess that's the whole point, right? You're advancing, and the MMO lets you show it off without knowing anybody else in the MMO. It feels very shallow to advance. It's like, why am I advancing at all? So that was my thing, I think.
Fair enough. Pretty sad
And I
story,
guess
bro,
Star
but I can
Citizen is an
relate.
extension of that.
Pretty sad story, bro, but I can relate totally. I mean, like I got Eve. I played the demo, and then I read some articles on Kotaku. I was like, that's cool, but that's not what I'm doing right now. So I did other things and kept reading articles, and I was happy.
I love the
played
stories
Eve as
of
well. Yeah, and I actually met a few people. And now that you mention it, I do think I came across Test in Eve.
Oh yeah.
Like this was years and years ago before they became big. But yeah, Eve. There were always these things that I was expecting Eve to do, but it never came about. Like proper real-time combat instead of just spreadsheet versus spreadsheet, and it's like that's what from the very beginning Eve wasn't like that, but as it evolved, as they kept adding features, it became more about that stats meta and nothing else.
Yeah.
And that kind of bored the fuck out of me, just because I wanted to be involved on a personal level instead of just having hundreds of different stats and just researching those. And they made it so stupid because you could up those stats, but by not even logging in the game, because it kept just working in the background. You didn't have to put any effort into it apart from clicking start research or whatever. So like I can appreciate the game, and I can completely respect all the people that love to play it, but not my thing. Even though I like the lore, I like the music,
right? I mean, that's
the feel of it. Yeah.
The reason for the Eve training mechanic is the same reason that like UO put in the house degeneration mechanic, and things like that, where the entire point is to encourage people not to have breaks in their sub. Because you look at WoW, and a lot of people will sub on and off, month to month to WoW, depending on how much time they have to play. And there's no reason to keep an ongoing sub in WoW. I mean, maybe there's some corner cases, but really there's not a main gameplay reason. Where other games where they have these, I guess EVE is a good example of a carrot, where they're like, here's a good reason for you to keep your month to month up so you can continue to gaining skill and you're doing stuff even though you're not necessarily active playing, right? UO had the exact same, had the similar thing, but with a stick, where it's like in order to keep your house, which is the primary goal for a lot of people, it is you have to keep your sub up. It'll be interesting to see what games like in the space sim genre, whether we're going to see something like that. I mean, we know, well, they've said Star Citizen isn't going to have a required month to month, but
Yeah.
I personally think they will have something, right?
Yeah, they'll think of something. You know they will. You know they will.
And there's going to be some sort of carrot there to keep you going, right?
Yeah.
Just like the subscribers have right now. If you want the year to year subscriber flare stuff, you got to keep your sub up, right? If you know there's going to be like some sort of ship flare for subbing for 5 years at some point, and you would have had to keep your sub up to do that, right?
Of course.
But
Of course
I
they'll be.
personally don't care about any of that. I just want them to help continue making these amazing videos like the current season of ATV and Lore Makers Guides and everything that comes from the sub money. And I just want to help them out because I am just all about apart from the actual game, really, really, really love the community interactions that they put in, and the quality that they've been able to reach with all the funding from the subscribers is just amazing.
Yeah.
Especially if you compare it from the very beginnings. Like you and I are quite fervent backers from the Wingman Hangers days. I mean, the Fortnite Frontier podcast started when the Wingman's Hanger was on, and we had coverage of it and everything, and then just comparing that to what we have now is just like night and day.
Mm-hmm. It was a little more obvious, I think, back in the day that they were funded by those kind of dollars. I think it's a little less obvious. Like, if our subscriber dollars went down, I could see a couple of the shows maybe trimming off a little bit, but it's a little unclear exactly how the subscriber dollars translate into those shows nowadays, I think. I'm not saying that they don't. We have assurances from Lando, et cetera, that there are, that it still is the case, but what exactly that looks like from a financial model, I think is becoming murkier and murkier. Especially as they get closer to Squadron 42 release, where this stuff is almost required anyway for proper marketing.
And I'm just looking at, I don't know if the stream can see it, but I'm looking at what Mars playing for us. And I completely forgot that you and Legante actually got into the LA studio, was it?
That was Austin.
Austin, yeah.
I've been to
Austin
the LA studio, but that was all filmed in Austin. That was the old Austin studio.
Yeah.
That was when they were, the entire game studio was located in a basement. Mm-hmm. I will say that
the entire company
right
was
there,
a lot more approachable back then.
I will say that live stream right there is probably some of the most fun I've had in 24 hours in my entire life. Like, that was just a fucking blast. And, the community was really small back then, so that can never be replicated again, in a Star Citizen context. But, all of those guys were super laid back and casual, and there were only a handful of fans that were at that thing. Even with the guys that crashed the party, there were at least like 6 guys who just literally showed up with beer and said, "Can we come in?" And they were like, "Okay." And they weren't even content producers or anything like that. They were just guys. And so just hanging out with people and drinking Wingman's moonshine and things like that. I don't think that I'll ever forget that. That was incredible.
Speaking of moonshine, did you ever get the chance to test the hull?
The pear schnapps, right?
Yep.
Yes, that was tasty.
Yeah, and we got Test the Hull 3.0 coming this year for CitizenCon.
Is that extra perry?
You should make some for Gamescom, dude.
Make some for Gamescom.
August, dude. You'll be there.
Yeah,
I'll be there.
I know, but you'll be there for CitizenCon as well.
Yeah, but
But Gamescom, I don't know if Gamescom is going to be more than just getting there during the day, attend the event, sleep in the car, and go back home because accommodations are being a bitch right now. So
right.
Yeah. But CitizenCon is going to be
their Gamescom event is kind of vacillates. You know how big it is, and because I guess they're the
the entire Cologne's booked
is
already.
right around the corner there. So
yeah. But yeah, I think it's going to be Plum this year.
Plum.
Yes.
I like plums. No?
I said, oh.
Oh, I thought you were like, no, like deadpan. Hell no.
No. Nah, Plum's great. It's much smoother, I think. Although the way the Astropub or Paul Shelley and several other nicknames that he's got discovered that it pairs fantastically well with cranberry juice, I think if he does come to CitizenCon this time around, I wonder what he'll discover about it that we don't know.
I don't know. His talent for mixing drinks is well above mine. So I can't even imagine the kind of things that Paul would think to mix with a particular kind of alcohol. I mean, there's a reason he calls himself the Astropub, right?
Indeed, yeah.
Well, he was an actual bartender, wasn't he?
I don't know. I didn't know that. I mean, it makes sense, I guess.
And now he teaches in a school. So, yeah, you know.
Kids, alcohol.
You gotta try everything.
Too
Yeah,
good together,
exactly.
really.
Yeah. Well, I started drinking when I was 15, so. The laws in this country are slightly more lax than yours. Just ever so
They would frown on
slightly.
that, I think.
Yeah. It's amazing over here because even in high school, like in German class, the teacher was quite happy to have the 4 kids that actually wanted to learn German, you know, up at the front, and the rest of us were just huddled in the back, playing cards, and drinking wine from a hose from like a 10-liter canister that somebody brought because they had a vineyard at home. So
wow,
yeah, that was my high school experience, and I kind of don't remember like half of it.
I knew people that snuck alcohol into school, but I've never heard of a teacher just kind of turning a blind eye to it.
Well, it was better than us giving her a hard time and making her cry. But that's a completely different story that we maybe save for another time, another podcast.
Indeed. So I guess reeling things back into Star Citizen though.
Yeah.
Mr. Kinshadow, if that really is your real name. Wait, no, he told us your real name already. It's Brian, isn't it?
Yeah. Kinshadow's my stage name. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
So, what is your favorite thing to do in Star Citizen, I suppose? Like, right now, in the alpha, what's your favorite thing to do?
I guess the majority of my time is Star Marine at the moment, just because it is easy to pop in and kill people and pop out. I don't know, when I play like Arena Commander or something, I feel like I always have to tweak my ship, and so it's always preempted with like an hour of screwing around with weapons and then fighting for 15 minutes and like, oh, that didn't work, let me try something else. And Arena Commander for me is I like the flying and the killing. Especially with as new ships come out and trying out new strategies and the like, but just because of the way my time works, where I got 20 minutes to kill, I end up playing in Star Marine. In terms of like sheer number of hours, though, I think I've spent more time in just capturing video for various projects than really anything else. Just kind of slowly drifting to the PU in various cases. And so that is I'm not sure that that's actually a favorite thing to do because it's actually quite boring, but I do it. A lot of them you don't even see because I get it and I'm like, well, this would be cool for a background or something like that, and I end up capturing it and I'll never post it. But I do have some machinima projects that I've constantly thought about and I haven't got around to doing. So I will. It'll eventually be used. I keep getting involved with machinima projects that kind of start and then stop, and then I never really go to. Like
He's got a bit of experience of that as well.
Hey,
like I did.
I never started. Oh, you mean bulkheads?
Yes, I mean bulkheads.
It's starting again.
Exactly.
Kinshadow.
Starting and stopping and starting again.
Yeah. No, I wrote the first episode of Bulkheads actually, or I wrote the first script that Lando then took and did the final version of for Fiendish Feather.
You wrote the Space Herpes script?
Yeah, the Space Herpes. Were you on that channel when we did that?
No, but I'm part of the circle now.
I'm sorry. What? I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
I'm
sorry. Space herpes. What?
Well, from Spaceball. From Ice Pirates. Who was it? It was Trendane. We were talking about funny things to say, and I can't remember if he said space herpes or whatever. And I'm like, well, that's. I had come up with another concept for Bulkheads. The name was actually attached to something I was doing, which was kind of a fan fiction thing.
Right.
And I did a couple. I was doing some things. I was going to do it in the forums, and it just never kind of. I never kind of got to it, right? But when Fiendish Feather was like, oh, I want to do a machinima thing, and everybody's like, well, why don't you do a red versus blue kind of thing? And I threw out, okay, well, this is the concept I was thinking of, right? And we had some character names and stuff, and we kind of half latched onto that, and then I kind of came up with a name for it, and along with that first idea script for like you said, Space Herpes, based on what the random crap Trendane was saying, and Lando, who has a much better stage background, he was trained, I think classically, so to say, classically in high school, in the theater, and so he actually took it and did proper treatment of it and did all of the cool things you want to do with it. And he took some of my original concepts and went like a 1,000-fold on them and did all sorts of character backgrounds and stuff. And so Lando did like all of those initial things. And the entire idea originally for it was that it was a pirate space station and stuff. But at the end of the day, it became logistically infeasible for Fiendish Feather to do all of the ideas that were going back and forth. And I had like 3 episodes I was doing treatments on at the time, and Fiendish Feather was like, he just threw up his hands in the air. So I can't produce this much custom stuff, right? Because Lando had produced the first real episode that wasn't the teaser. In terms of like script and stuff, and I didn't think it was too ambitious, but from I guess one guy doing all the animation, it ended up being not feasible for him.
Was this before
that's where
or
it kind of just got cut
after
off.
he actually got employed by CIG?
This was before he did the pro bono stuff for CIG. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Well, pro bono. He was doing like fan creation crap, right? Originally, and they asked him on for a totally different role, I think, originally, and then he kind of transitioned to what he is now slowly over time. Originally, I think he was just helping out on certain things, and then they kind of gave him a couple of promotions since then. But yeah, he decided he couldn't because of potential conflicts of interest. He couldn't really be involved in fan projects once he got hired, and so. He tried to. We had a little bit of transition there where we're like, well, maybe I can pick up what Lando was doing here, and that was the reason I wrote a couple of the episodes that were going to be post the Lando episode that never got aired. But like you said, Feather just kind of with he was going to be going to school and a bunch of stuff, and he just felt like he couldn't do anymore. and he was moving also from Hawaii or wherever he was. And then I know you guys took, what was it, the relay guys, to use the current parlance, took over a lot of that stuff and completely transitioned the series to something different.
So
that was more,
considering how long,
utilizing more of the assets that we could that Feather was scraping from the data files and transitioned it. Yeah.
Right. So considering how long ago all this stuff happened, it's been amazing for just how long Bulkheads was in conceptual pre-production before it actually became a thing.
The current iteration, yeah. Yeah, for the initial episode 0 thing, that went from 0 to release in like a week.
Yeah, I know.
Because that was all Feather just prototyping away and testing things out. And so that one was really quick. But everything else, yeah, absolutely. I think the amount of lead time and design changes and everything like that, it took forever, yeah. And so I've done a couple other things, I guess, other random videos with people that wanted to do things. The most recent machinima thing I did was for a series I called Cathcart Public Access, which is like a UHF style mini, like mini episodes cut together kind of thing, like, Weird Al's UHF. So a lot of like commercials and shows that are kind of cut together in a humorous way. At least that was the concept for it. And we did a pilot episode. You can see it at cathcart.pub. That was like a year and a half ago, I think, at this point. And we are constantly talking about relaunching that, and I just haven't had the time to do it. Well, I was going to do it, I guess, earlier this year, like after CitizenCon, but I got a job, and then I was traveling for 2 months, and then
those pesky jobs.
Yes, pesky life. But this summer things are winding down, so I can probably put some more effort back into that when I get a chance.
Nice. So, I was gonna just say the most recent thing I've seen on your YouTube channel is the "I'm a Star Citizen" video.
That was
Were you on the final cut? I forget.
Yeah, I was.
Yeah, he was.
It was like 10 seconds.
Yeah, but can you talk us through that? I mean, some citizens don't know exactly what that is, or it was for the CitizenCon presentation at the beginning.
Yeah, was that last CitizenCon? I can't remember.
It was last CitizenCon.
This one, yeah.
Yeah.
So they had they were doing a "I Am a Star Citizen" kind of tribute to the fans video, and they made a call to everybody, please submit your videos, and on this forum thread, and we will cut them together potentially and show them at CitizenCon. And I think they didn't give a very big window. I think there was only like a week, and so that was. I had done a previous video for a contest earlier that year that was I'm a Star Citizen, where I wrote a poem, and then I memorized it, and then kind of said the poem to some backgrounds and stuff. And that ended up working well because that was one of the winners of the contest. So I decided to do kind of the same theme. So I wrote another poem for that. This one's much shorter, and then read that over that. I guess that's another thing I do. There's a bunch of Star Citizen poetry. So if you Google Star Citizen poetry and Kinshadow, there's an old forum thread that has probably a couple of dozen Star Citizen poems on there.
So what's the most popular form of poetry in the 30th century? Does it rhyme? Is it mainly haikus? What sort of thing?
It's limericks.
We're talking about right
now.
It's
all limericks.
Gotta love a good limerick, especially if it's saucy.
Yeah. Yeah, there was wait, I have to go. No, I'm not going to go there. There was a Van Duel friend from Nantucket.
Had a very big bucket.
No, I don't know. The random crap I did. I think about half of them are meant to be humorous, and the other half are meant to be inspirational, I guess is the idea. Yeah,
and all of them
sort of
contain
attached.
his referral code. It must be a bitch to rhyme that in.
The first letter of each sentence is the referral code. Yeah.
Oh, right. So it's like what's it called? An epithet? No. What's the actual name for that? You should. You're gonna have,
Acronym?
no. No. It's not an epitaph. It's something taff. Something af. No.
Epitaph, I think, is you say when people die, right?
Yeah. No, but it's no. This is gonna bother me. To the Google machine.
He's an English major, so he's not going to.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, as Darjan Major Googles his English terms,
this doesn't
his
help.
poetry terms.
I mean, this drowns my sorrows and also my intellect.
I did a song one time too. What was it? I guess on the same theme of poetry, they had a lore piece at one point talking about Ruin Station in Pyro system, and so they had like this small snippet of like a verse, like I can't remember it quite off the top, but it was get myself to Pyro or something like that, and I decided to make up a bunch of more verses. I think I did like 4 or 5 verses or something like that, and then I recorded myself singing the verses, and then tried to get other people to kind of build the song up in a community style. And we had a decent thread, I think, going for a couple of weeks where we kind of fleshed the song out, I think, and got it. And then I got oh my God, I can't believe I forgot his name. Matt, doing the I'll have to go back and look. I get the background music. He did instrumental background music and etc. So hold on one second. I don't want to not credit him because I feel bad. Did you find the English term you were looking for?
Yes, and I already showed it to chat. It is the acrostic. That is when you take the first letter of every line or every verse of a poem, and then it makes something say something else. Also, yeah, I'm wondering how you actually got the numbers and the dashes into it. So that must be quite advanced poetry there.
Exactly. It takes an engineering major, really.
Kinshadow. It wasn't Uther Riley, was it? Who did the music?
No, it was.
It's not everything's about Uther Riley.
He does everything, Darj. He does everything. You can't deny it. What did you say, Kinshadow?
Matt Fosa. And Matt Fosa does. He did a lot of the same kind of stuff, like instrumental music for Star Citizen theme stuff, and he did a whole album based off of it. And he did the original Wingman's Hangar music, etc. And he's not as forward as some of the people are now because it's 5 years later, but but he's still around.
Us, we're still going strong.
Except you, I'm new to this. Well, I say I'm new. It's been a couple of years now.
It has been a couple of years. Yeah.
Getting long in tooth here. I can't even say except you anymore. I feel sad.
But anyway,
Star Citizen.
It's getting late, so I think we should be wrapping up this episode of Frontier Feature with the one and only Kinshadow at your service. So we're gonna end it off with a few quick fire questions. And Meyer, go.
What is my name?
Meyer Test.
Yes. Next one.
What is your favorite Star Citizen ship?
Buccaneer at the moment.
What is your favorite Star Citizen role?
Piracy, obviously.
And what's your favorite non-Star Citizen ship?
That's a hard one.
Firefly.
I'm gonna go with my current favorite, which is the Rocinante from.
Also a good choice.
Expanse.
All right. Okay. Banu Ocean. 5.
I'm gonna go with
3.
Banu.
Okay.
I like the creature design better, if that's what we're going for.
Han Solo or Malcolm Reynolds?
Malcolm.
Good man.
Sandworm or space whale?
Space whale. Because
speaking of
the
which-
way that I imagine the space whale, that will never actually be, but I love the space whale.
Speaking of which, the space whale is currently in the lead for the on Spectrum for Josh Sherman to be designing on Happy Hour this Friday. And the last one, where can we find you?
I guess all over the place. I'm Kinshadow on Twitch and in RSI forums and things like that. If you're looking for any of my old YouTube videos, they're under a channel called Dread Citizen, which was my old blog. There's actually a
That's you.
dreadcitizen.com.
Oh, yeah, that is
doesn't get
you.
updated.
What the hell?
Say what?
Yeah, that is you. What the hell was I thinking?
There's a dreadcitizen.com that I haven't updated in forever. Maybe eventually I'll get back to that. And that has a lot of the old crap that I've did if you're ever looking for any of the other stuff. If you're looking for my games, if you go to kinshadow.com/games, the landing page for kinshadow.com is just my social media crap.
Right. But basically,
that'll be something.
Put
maybe.
Kinshadow into Google and we'll find you.
Yeah, mostly. For some reason, it tries to replace my name with some other guy. I guess he's a streamer called Kinshadow or something like that, which started to piss me off. But because I'd never heard of him before, I realized when I tried to Google myself that it comes up with that. But yes, Kinshadow, as long as you make sure it's spelled right and you click, you really mean Kinshadow, not some random other guy who's spelled totally different.
Yeah. Okay, but thank you, Kinshadow, so very much for coming on this show. And thank you also, everyone, for tuning in on Twitch and on YouTube. My name has been Darionator. Over there on the other side has been Meyer, and nestled lovingly in between has been Kinshadow of Star Citizen fame. And I suppose we will see you in the verse.
See you in the verse.